Hello everybody, and what we're going to be doing is a bit more of a flowy class today, movement with breath, and we're actually starting standing. So if you want to start at the top of your mat, and it doesn't matter where it's about on the mat, but just in Tadasana, so our nice easy mountain pose, feet comfortable on the floor, about hip width apart, and have a little bit of softness in the knees. So I don't want to lock my knees backwards. And if we just place the hands on the top of the pelvis here, we want to make sure that we've got a very gentle little tilt forwards. So let's just have a play with the pelvic position. We're going to draw the pelvis down, which creates an arch in the back, and then relax the tailbone down, which flattens the back out. Just relax the arms inside the body once you've got that. So forward tilt as we breathe in, exhale, tailbone down, flattening out the back. And we'll just do 2 more rounds of that, noticing how that makes the lower back feel. And we don't want to be either extreme. So now we're going to try and come to a point where it feels really comfortable. There should be a natural curve here in the lower back. And then checking again, have the knees, are they still soft? And if it's comfortable to close the eyes and observe the weight down through the feet. You'll probably be a lot more aware of, just those subtle movements that we have to keep us upright, keep us balanced. And then begin to focus on your breath. And imagine the breath rising from the feet all the way up to the crown of the head, lengthening the spine as the breath travels up. And as we exhale, we're going to send that breath back down from the top of the head, down through the feet into the earth. Couple more of these breaths. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, chin parallel to the floor. And then gently opening the eyes. So keeping that nice stable position, we'll now add some arm movement. And depending on what's comfortable with your shoulders, if you don't want to take the arms all the way out to the ceiling, then just a shoulder height or wherever's comfortable. So I'm going to breathe in, extend the arms up without overarching into the spine. And then as we exhale, release the arms back down beside the body. So soft knees as we breathe it up, and we're trying to time the movement with the hands. So as I breathe in, I start the movement. At the end of the breath, I get to the end of the movement. And then as I exhale, same thing, I finish the exhale as I finish the movement. Okay, we'll add a little balance. So as you breathe in, perhaps try taking the heels off the floor. And then exhale, releasing down. We're coming up onto the balls of the feet. We'll do 1 more. And release. Check it out. So from here, we'll start to take that into a forward bend. I want you to keep the knees soft as we come into the forward bend. If it's comfortable with the arms overhead, then you can have the arms overhead as well. So we're going to breathe in, take the arms up. And then as we exhale, soften the knees, releasing towards the floor, just lightly touching. On the inhale, bend the knees a little bit more as we reach all the way up. And then exhale, arms down beside the body. So inhale, extending up towards the ceiling. Exhale, folding forwards. And breathing in. sweeping it back up. And exhale, release the arms down beside the body. So in your own time, we'll do a couple more of these. Really slow, conscious movement with our breath. We'll make this one our last round. And then once you finish that last round, just observing how everything feels. It should be quite calming, quite relaxing. So for our next movement, we are going to be going into that forward bend and just extending it a little further from the floor. So from our exhale down to here, hands towards the feet, we're then just going to breathe in and extend it out, and then exhale, folding a little deeper. So we'll start to wake up into the backs of the legs here. So we'll start from our standing position. Next breath in, taking the arms up or just to shoulder height. And then exhale, folding all the way forwards. Head relaxed. On the breath in, just extending the hands a little further out. Feet stay planted. And then on the exhale, hands back towards the toes or the shins, whatever you can reach. Inhale, extending up. Exhale, release. I'll do 2 more rounds of this. Breathing up. Exhale forwards. Inhale, extending out. Exhale, folding a little deeper. Breathing it up. Soft knees as we come up. And releasing back down. So one more in your own time. We all have a different breath rate. Really try to get the movement timed with the breath. And then when you finish that last one, release back down. I know for my students who are doing this live on Zoom, internet's really lagging today. So I can see that, my movements are like 3 breaths behind. So from here, our next one, we're going to have the right foot forwards, left foot back, setting up for our warrior 1 position. So soften the front knee, don't let it go past the ankle. And then just easing that left hip forwards. Enjoying that beautiful calf stretch down the back of the leg there. And for this one, again, movement with the breath, we will be inhaling up the arms to our warrior 1 position, if that's comfortable, or you could keep them here at the heart center. And then on the exhale, just leaning forwards, fingers lightly touching the floor. And then we breathe it back up, either hands to heart or overhead. And then exhale, arms come back down. The legs stay the same, front knee stays bent the whole time. So we'll breathe it up. Exhale, folding forwards. I'm really pressing down through my back left foot to stay nice and grounded. And then releasing back up. And then hands back beside the body. All right, last one. And then once you've got the hands back beside the body, we'll step forwards. Just check in, how's it all feeling through the legs? And we'll take our right foot back for our warrior one on this side. I forgot to mention earlier, it can be really lovely to do ujjayi breathing here with these movements. So that gentle contraction in the throat on the exhalation. You should just hear that, subtle sound of the breath as we slow the breath down. So front knee bent over the ankle. And let's start our second side. So breathing up and slowly coming towards the floor. Relax the arms back down. So it should be requiring a bit of concentration to get the breath timed with the movement and have it nice and smooth and controlled. So that's our third one. When you finish that one, stepping forwards, coming back out, and you can listen off. All right, we'll be coming down to the hands and knees. So you need to adjust your screens. Do that, and if you'd like to have something soft for the knees, we're starting off in our tabletop or cat position. So I've got my knees directly underneath the hips, elbows are soft. And from here, we'll just do our extra little calf stretch. So tucking right toes under, reach back through the right heel. For those who want to add a little bit of core strength, feel free to hover that left knee off the floor. And then we'll come back down, transfer sides, so tucking left toes under, reach out through the heel, keep the toes on the floor. And if you want to add a little bit extra, perhaps lifting that right knee off the ground. And then bringing that back down. And we'll come back into our cat. So toes touching, perhaps taking those knees out just that little bit wider, hips towards the heels, and either extending the arms out, head resting on the floor, or head resting on the hands if you prefer that one. So just encouraging a little bit more opening into the inner thighs, breathing into the belly. Perhaps again using that ujjayi breath. And then we'll come back to hands and knees, bring the knees back to hip width. So we'll be moving from our cat pose into downward dog and back to cat, again with the breath. So we want that slow, flowy sort of movement. So you might want to start to tuck the toes under. And as we take a breath in here, we're going to do a little dip down through the back and look forwards. On our exhalation, easing the knees off the floor and just sliding back into not quite a full downward dog to start off with. And then we breathe the knees back to the ground, going into our cow position of the cat-cow, and then exhale, flowing it to our Savasana, our downward dog. Starting to get the legs a little bit straighter. So I'll do this quite a few more times. If You want to take a rest at any time into your child, please feel free to do so. So next time when we come up into our downward dog, if it's comfortable to hold it there, let's do that. So lifting up and back. Head relaxed between the upper arms. Perhaps staying with that Ujjayi breath if you like the Ujjayi breath. Drawing up the kneecaps, the thighs. And then when you're ready to come back to the floor, taking a child pose and resting. So whether you like the knees wide or knees in a little closer, that's all fine. Your choice. And next breath in, coming back onto the knees so that we'll move into a lunge position now. So if we can step the right foot forwards. And from here, we'll come into an upright position. Losing a bit of internet connection there. Hopefully you're still with me. Okay, and then from here, so we're going to breathe in, lengthen through the spine, move the hips forwards, and as we exhale, fingertips to floor, easing out. And if you find that the knee starts to go over the toes, then just creeping that foot a little further forwards. So we'll breathe in, we'll ease it back, coming upright, open the chest, and then exhale, coming forwards, moving into the stretch. So inhale, easing it back, coming upright, open a little bit more. So we're starting to add a bit of back bend and release. And then one more time, inhale, coming up, open the chest. Exhale, back to the floor. And then from here, we'll step it back. Once more, hips to heels. So it's a really nice, slow sort of pace class today. And we'll come back and go to the left side. So left foot forwards. And I've got my foot just, quite a little way in front of my knee to start off with. So let's come upright. We start to open up into that right thigh, right hip. So inhale and lengthen through the front spine. Exhale, ease into a little bit deeper. And if you need to readjust your foot to keep that knee behind or over the ankle, do that. Okay, we're coming back up, so we ease back out. Take the arms out a little bit more to the sides, open the chest. And then exhale, releasing back to the floor. Going deeper, if it feels comfortable. All right, breathe it up. Adding a little bit more back bend. And then letting it go. Breathe it up. Last one coming forwards. And inhale up. Open that chest. All right, and we'll step it back. So taking left foot back once more, choosing your favorite child pose. Thinking of just softening everything into the back there. and coming back up. All right, so we're going to get a little deeper into the hip flexors. You may want to have a support for the forearms or the hands as we go into this. So stepping the right foot forwards, and I've got my brick just near the top there, ready to go. And as I sink into this, I want both hands, big toe side of the foot. So I'll give you a front view if you like. Hopefully that works. And then from here, I'm just drawing the shoulder down on the inside of the knee. And then depending on what feels comfortable, you can just keep the elbows a little bit bent. You could use your brick, place your forearms on the brick, and there's a couple of heights there. Or some of you might even be okay to come down towards the ground. So I'm letting my knee go out, it's following the line of my toes. So if your foot wants to turn out a bit more to the right side, that's okay. You can let that do that, as long as I've got the knee pointing in line with the toes. In fact, some people like to actually lift the big toe side of the foot as well. So have a play, see what feels more comfortable. And we have a very big opening here in the hip joints or the hip flexor. All right, we'll make our way back up with the hands. Big step back. Just a little softening there by taking the hips back. And then we'll move to the other side. So stepping the left foot up. And I've got both hands, big toe side of foot. I start to move forwards with the hips. Readjust the front leg if you need to, so that my knee's still staying above the ankle joint. Shoulder on the inside of the knee. And then if you like, you can turn the toes out a little bit as we go deeper. So either choosing support with the brick or towards the floor. Don't feel like you have to go to your full range of movement either. You can back it off just a little bit. If you want, you could also lift the big toes. Steady breath. All right, next breath. Let's bring ourselves back up. Stepping back out and coming into our rested child pose. So just softening into those hip flexors again. And then coming back up to hands and knees. Now, if you want, you can give the hip flexors a little bit of a pummel out. So next movement is building on that again, and feel free to, just stay with what we've already done. But I know some of you might want to take it a bit further. I certainly won't be going all the way today because my right shoulder's not so happy these days. So we'll see where we get to. Going back to right foot forwards, back to our nice long lunge, hands both sides of the big toe there, and getting a little bit deeper. So what we want to try and do, I'm going to give you a bit of a side view, is thread the right arm underneath the right leg. So I'm placing my hand to the outside of the foot, and the intention is to hook your right leg over your shoulder, which I won't be doing, or a lot of us probably won't be doing. And you press the leg down against the arm and the arm up against the leg. So from that position, you can just hold it. It's an awesome stretch. For those who want to take it a little bit further, your next step would be to creep your right foot forwards and take it off the ground so that you're balancing on your hands. And that bit I won't be showing today. So if you want to give that a go, feel free, but you don't have to. And then if you are happy sort of having that foot hanging off in the air and it's balancing on the back of your right arm, the next final step is maybe taking your left foot off the floor. So it's a complete arm balance. Like I said, it's just a bit of fun. Or a good stretch, whichever way you take it. And then if you have had enough, which probably most of us have, we'll come back out. So unravel the hands. Again, big step back, give that release, come and soften. Let it all go. This is the challenge pose, by the way. We started off nice and soft and relaxed, but there's always going to be a little bit of a challenge. All right, so coming up, left side, let's step left foot forwards. And sinking that left shoulder on the inside of the knee. So coming into our beautiful lunge. We'll thread the left hand underneath and beside the foot. And you're trying to bring that back of the left leg as high as you can on the arm or the shoulder. And if that works for you, awesome. You want to try creeping your left foot forwards, taking it off the floor, which again, I won't be. You can, if you wish. And then if you want to tuck those back toes under, lift the back knee. And some of you might even be able to take the back leg off the floor and balance on both arms. Awesome. Or you can just hold it where I'm at. And then I think we've had enough fun. Let's come back out. So unraveling all of that. Big step back and rest. Let it go. All right, coming back to hands and knees. And now we're actually going to make our way down onto the ground. So if you like a little bit of padding underneath your hips, then set that up. And we'll work with our back strength. So I always like my feet hip width apart. Some people quite like the feet together. Just depends on how your back feels with it all. So with the hands just underneath the shoulders, keeping the elbows moving back towards the hip points. And we'll keep the feet grounded on the floor. So lift the kneecaps. We're actually not going to use the hands, so just finding that upper back strength to begin with. So can we breathe in, lift the head, lift the chest, and then hover the hands off the floor. And think of getting length all the way from the toes out through the crown of the head. And then we'll release the hands, the head back to floor. So now I'm going to do that with the breath. As we breathe in, let's lift it up, hands off if we can. So it doesn't have to be super high. And then as we exhale, really slow exhale, making our way back to the floor. At the end of the exhale, that brief moment of complete relaxation before we breathe in. Come up, maybe lifting higher if that feels comfortable. And then exhale, slowly, slowly back to the floor. Don't forget to relax the buttocks. We've got one more to go. Breathing it up. Slow exhale down. And this time you may want to support the head on the hands or turn the head to the side, whatever's comfortable.
And then we'll bring both arms now beside the body. So moving into a snake pose, which is everything lifting off the floor. So if you've got a bit of a sensitive back, don't lift high. Or, maybe just try single leg lifts is another option as well, just to work those lower back muscles. So try to angle the big toes towards each other and think of lifting the inner thighs towards the ceiling as we do this movement. So we take a breath in, begin to lift the head, arms, and legs, keeping that rotation of inner thighs to ceiling. On the exhale, gently coming back down. And we'll keep moving with breath. Ujjayi breath is really good here. One more lift. And if you like to turn your head to the side, or again, support the head, set that up. And release the back. Now we'll roll over onto our back. So I'm going to remove that blanket. And this time we'll be moving between a knees to chest position, so this one, to extending the legs up towards the ceiling, and then either taking the arms overhead, and this is a movement I'm not quite happy with at the moment, or if you prefer, you could just take the arms to this point, which is, for some of us, a little bit easier if you've got shoulder problems. So the exhale will be knees in towards the chest. So let's start with the legs up in the air. And from here, we're going to exhale first, knees to chest. So it's a nice flat back. And then breathe in, extend the arms, extend the legs, wherever they're happy to go to. And then exhale, squeeze it in. And then just moving in time with your own breath. Remember, this is slow breath, slow movement. Two more. And then we'll release the feet back to the ground when you finish that last round. Nice and soft. All right, so now we'll do a similar thing, but moving through to a bridge pose. So we want to have the feet about hip width apart, arms down beside the body. So we're going to breathe in, press down through the feet, lift the hips. If it's comfortable, you can raise the arms. As we exhale, slowly rolling down, and we finish off again with the knees in towards the chest. So we start to breathe in, feet to floor, lifting up, arms overhead, and exhaling, coming down, knees into chest. We just keep flowing. So see how slow you can make the movement to fit with the relaxed breath. So we'll make the next one our last one, lifting up into our bridge. And squeeze knees in towards the chest. And then feet back to floor, arms beside the body. Okay. Now, depending on what you've got set up in your space, our next posture is a shoulder stand. And quite a few ways you can do shoulder stand. I quite like doing it on the wall, but you could also do it with your feet on a chair or a couch as well. Some of you are quite happy to do it freestanding. I always like to have some support underneath my shoulders. But you know, if you've got problems with your shoulders, shoulder stand's not going to be for you today. Same with neck problems, high blood pressure, etc. So if that's you, then your other choice, if you happen to have a brick or a rolled up towel, is you can do your supported bridge pose instead. So you place the brick underneath the sacrum like that, and arms just down beside the body. So this is not quite as intense as a shoulder stand. It's a nice alternative. Or legs up the wall is also a nice alternative. I'm just trying to look which side of my wall has got the most camera on it. Probably this bit here, if I move my beautiful Buddha. There we go. All right, so if you're not familiar with this pose, ideally it's better if you've got a teacher that can take you through it the first time. But I usually just, fold the mat in half. And if you happen to have a blanket or something, I quite like 3 blankets, but we're limited with what we've got at home if you are doing the shoulder stand. So I just sort of line that up nicely with the edge of my mat there. And then take myself off to the side of the mat. Get in really close so my buttock is right up on the wall, the top buttock. So I'm resting on my left hip. And this is the same way you get into legs up the wall. So I've just rolled up. This is Viparati Karani. And beautiful position in itself. I've just realized I haven't quite got my blanket set up how I'd like it. So from here, if you want to take it into your shoulder stand, you can bend the knees a little bit so you can just get the feet flat, push into the heels, lift the hips up, shoulders tucked under, and then you can take single legs away from the floor. And if you're comfortable, both legs up. But because I'm protecting the shoulder at the moment, I won't be doing that. So I would stay with my bridge pose instead, personally. But if you're happy to do shoulder stand, please do. If you're not already in there, or you support a bridge. These should be calming postures. So if you're feeling stressed at any time, the breath becomes laboured, uncomfortable, then come down. Keep the legs up the wall if you're using the wall or on the chair. And breathe. So if we can make these postures quite restive, then it's nice to spend at least a couple of minutes in there. So I've now chosen my supported bridge pose. And with our bridge, our shoulder, there should be space here at the front of the throat. Breathe into the chest. For those in their shoulder stand, if you've got both legs up in the air, really lengthen from the inner thighs up to the inner arches of the feet. Those who might be doing a supported bridge, like I am, then, lifting the spine away from the floor. So maybe one more minute in your chosen posture. And another alternative for those in the supported bridge is perhaps, taking the legs up from here as well. This is really good just for draining lymphatic fluid and the venous blood back towards the heart. So I haven't been teaching many inversions because it's a bit tricky when it's online rather than face-to-face. Especially when I can't see what people are doing. All right, so if you are in your shoulder stand, you've got your legs up in the air, start to bring them back down, either onto the floor or onto the wall. And for those who are using a support underneath the body, just sliding that away, rolling back down. If you're on the wall, rolling off to one side, just rest there for a moment. So there's no rush to get back up. And we can observe the effects of the pose. So again, it should be calming for the nervous system is what we're trying to achieve. And then we'll be finishing with a twist for our posture work. So if you need to readjust your mats and come back down onto the floor, then doing that now. And we'll come into a bent knee position with the arms out about shoulder height. So we'll do a series of twists, each one moving a little further up the spine. So we start low level, we'll bring the feet and the knees together. Feet will stay on the floor for the first one. We are going to shift the hips a little bit over to the left. So sort of pick them up, tilt to the left, and then roll both knees to the right. So your left foot should come off and be resting on the right. We try and keep the knees together. And this is working more in that lower back region. Next breath in, we'll come back to center. And we should feel crooked when we come out. So we're going to readjust the hips, swivel them over to the right. So it's a little rotation. Take the knees to the left. Breathe into the belly. I'm trying to bring my knees and feet together. And then we'll breathe it back to center. Realign the back so it feels straight. So second twist, taking the feet off the floor. We want the knees stacked over the hips. Still feet and knees together. We're going to swivel the hips to the left. Just do a little shuffle. Take the knees over to the right. And we should now feel this working more around the midsection of the spine, more around through the navel, Manipura. We are trying to keep our shoulders relaxed to the floor. And breathe into the belly. And then next breath in, we'll come back up. If it's too strong to have the feet off the floor when you come up, keep them on the ground. So we're going to do a big hip swivel, hips to the right, and then legs to the left. Breathe into that belly. On the next breath, let's make our way back out and feet to the floor. Let's realign the back. So our last twist, a couple of ways you can get into this. One of the ways is to keep it a little bit easy. You can keep the feet on the floor, swivel the hips to the left, roll to the right, and then you're going to straighten the top leg up towards that right hand. The other way you can get into it is have both legs straight up. Again, you're going to swivel hips to the left, and then we try and take both legs over the right. So you need good core strength for this one. And if it's not comfortable, you know, just bend that bottom knee or both knees. Readjust. But you can feel this working much higher up into the back here with a twist. I've conveniently got a bolster here in the way to rest my feet on, so you could put a brick underneath the feet if you want to make it a little bit more softer. I won't have that on the other side. Now, when we come out of this, if you've done the straight leg option, it's much harder to come up with straight legs unless you've got really good back and abdominal muscles. So feel free to bend the knees to come back out if you need to protect anything. So we're going to swivel the hips to the right now. And remember, you can start with the bent knees for this one. As we exhale, taking the legs to the left. And another option is always to bend the knees and then just straighten the top leg if that feels okay. I'm trying to relax my right shoulder to the floor. And then next breath in, we'll make our way back up and out. Try to bend knees or straight legs. Come back to center. Realign the back. And then let's take both knees into the chest. And whatever feels good, little circles, little rolls, rocks, whatever your back is asking for. And let it go. And then rolling over to come up, to sit comfortably if you can. And I thought today it'd be nice just to explore the sound of Om and using it as a bit of breath awareness for the lungs. So I'm going to sit up on my nice comfy bolster. This one. So you can sit in a chair or anything that will be comfortable, and you may want to put something comfortable on your shoulders as well, because after this we will go into a relaxation. So it's going to be a little while before we can do something like chanting in classes, and I don't tend to teach a lot of chanting, but the sound of Om, or the chant of Om, is quite a nice, simple, basic one. And we break it up into 3 separate sounds that relate to the 3 parts of the lungs. So we think of Om, it's not spelled as O-M, but A-U-M, so Om. And what we're going to do is do each separate sound and try and get that sound happening from a particular part of the lungs. So the first sound of ah, we just need to open the mouth, ah, nice and easy. And we want to get that breath moving from the base of the lungs to make that sound. So sitting up nice and tall, take your first breath in through the nose and really draw it down deep into the belly. And then we simply open the mouth and make the sound of ah. All right, so we're going to do that 2 more times. Making sound is a great thing for the body and the mind. So again, breathing deeply into the lower lungs. And then opening the mouth. Ah. And one more time. All right, so the next sound is a little bit higher up around the rib cage. And this is the sound of ooh, oh. So we sort of bring the mouth in from a big ah, ooh. So let's see if we can take the breath into the ribs, get them sort of broadening out to the sides. So let's breathe it in. Oh. And we're trying to expel the air from that rib cage, breathing in. Oh. One more to go, breathing in. Oh. And then our last sound is mm. So we have the lips closed and it's related to the upper part of the lungs. So it's more in the chest. So just going to take a bit more of a shallower breath here. And then we mm. So we just hum it out. So I'll do 2 more of those, breathing into the upper chest. Mm. And when we want to feel that vibration in the body, in the head. One more time. Mm. So that's the 3 components of Om. Now we're going to put it all together. So we want to try and fill into the belly first with the breath, expand it into the ribs, top it up here to the collarbones. And then when we exhale, we'll gradually move through the 3 parts. Om. So, I'll move my hands to where my breath is coming from, ideally, and going in. So let's begin our first breath in. That wasn't my smoothest Om. So we've got another 2 more of these to go. So again, let's try and take the breath deep down. We want to feel that vibration. The last bit of Om is actually the silence after. So when we do our next Om chant and we finish with the we'll just have a little bit of silence. I want you to just observe how that feels. Okay, last one, best one. Breathing in. and relax. So hopefully you enjoyed that introduction to chanting Om. It's a nice way to work with your breath, lengthens that exhalation, and you know the sound vibration is an important part of that. So it's good to be able to get a decent sound coming out. All right, relaxation, best bit. Today, we're going to be doing a Spring Equinox relaxation. I taught a special class on the weekend for IYTA based on the Spring Equinox, which was, I think, the 26th of September. And yeah, this is a relaxation based on that. So get comfortable. Either lying down or sitting up, your choice. We'll do a simple yoga nidra to lead into it, and then I'll add the visualization within that. So with the body either resting on the floor or, you know, really comfortable position, one that you're not going to be tempted to move from, making sure you're going to be warm enough, because it's surprising how much body heat we lose when we go through a relaxation. And then gently closing the eyes. If you can feel the clothing on your skin, the warmth it provides, feel the back of the body connecting with the ground. And just aware of the space that you're lying in, the walls, the ceiling. Just picturing it in your mind. And then opening up to the sounds that are around you, in the room, outside the room. And letting go of those external sounds, following the sound of your own breath, in and out through the nose, very gentle. And if you have an intention, a sankalpa you'd like to make for yourself, then repeating that intention 3 times. Moving your awareness down to your right hand thumb. So feeling the right hand thumb, repeat it mentally to yourself. And then do the same with the second finger, third finger, fourth, fifth. Palm of the hand, back of the hand, the wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, waist, hip, right thigh, knee, calf, ankle, heel, sole, top of the foot, right big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth. Feeling the left hand thumb, the second finger, third, fourth, fifth. Palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, waist, hip, left thigh, knee, calf, ankle, heel, sole, top of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth. Feel both feet, ankles, calves, knees, thighs, buttocks. Feel lower back, middle back, upper back, the whole spine. Shoulder blades, shoulders, back of the head, top of the head, forehead, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, eyebrow center, right eyelid, left eyelid, right eye, left eye, right ear, left ear, right cheek, left cheek, nose, tip of the nose, right nostril, left nostril, upper lip, lower lip, chin, jaw, throat. Right collarbone, left collarbone, right chest, left chest, middle of the chest, navel, abdomen, groin. The whole right leg, whole left leg, both legs together. Whole right arm, whole left arm, both arms together. Whole of the back, whole of the front, whole of the head together. Legs, arms, back, front, and head together. The whole body together. Awareness of the whole body, and awareness of the body relaxed, calm, and still. Whole body relaxed. As the body relaxes, think of drawing your energy inwards as you let go of the outer world, being in this moment. We think of spring as a time for new projects, as we prepare for the heat of summer, especially at this point when we're looking at maybe coming out of lockdown soon. It's exciting. It can also be a little challenging as we ease ourselves out of winter from our stasis of hibernation a little bit and move into a new time. So just embracing this stillness, feeling your thoughts slip away, letting go of anything you feel you have to do, and noticing if there's any resistance to that. And as you let go of thoughts and ideas from your mind, feel the physical body soften. Think of it softening and spreading as if stirring from a long, deep sleep. Perhaps having a sensation of tightness unraveling from the body. And picture in your mind a tiny sprout emerging from the ground. And as if it's on fast forward, you witness this plant growing, leaves unfurling, and the stalk climbing higher, reaching up towards the golden light of the sun. You observe this miracle of nature, watching as the plant develops a bud and the petals begin to open. Feel a spring shower with droplets of water cleansing and nourishing, rejuvenating and revitalizing. And you see this flower respond to the sunlight and the shower of rain. And there's a prism of light shining out from the petal. And you feel yourself bathed in the colors of the flower, giving you strength, feeling energized, compassionate, vibrant, and wise. Just absorbing those qualities. Feeling that breath as it flows through your body, bringing a softness, a lightness. With each exhale, letting go of heaviness. Letting go of habits we may have built up through the winter. Especially for those of us who've been in lockdown for the last 3 months. And with that awareness of the breath through the nostrils, letting go of that image of the flower. Keeping that sense of energy and rejuvenation of spring. Feeling that cool air coming in through the top of the nostrils. And the warm air moving out through the base of the nostrils. Begin to slowly open the awareness to the sounds in your space. Picturing the room that you're lying in, the walls, the ceiling, feeling the body against the ground. Drawing the breath in a little deeper. And gently now moving into the hands and the feet. So now stretching, extending in any way that feels comfortable to move. Gently opening the eyes, and when you're ready, coming up to sit. So this week's quote is from Gautama Buddha. So he says, resolve to be tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant with the weak and wrong. Sometime in your life, you will have been all of these. So let's draw the hands into Anjali Mudra. Namaste.